How I Became a Ghost, Chapter 7, Snow Monsters. Hokey. Everything was sad, rotten sad. I was 10 years old. This was no way to live. In many ways, when you are 10 years old, you are smarter than grown-ups. But sometimes your parents are smart too. The very next day, my father and mother were smart. After breakfast, more squirrel, they looked at each other for a long time. I knew they had something planned. Luke, Isaac, we're going for a walk. Without your mother, my father said. Isaac, carry Jumper. Hold him tight and don't let him go. We climbed out of the lean-to and walked from camp. We crossed the icy swamp on the far side of the island. Careful, my father warned. Don't fall through the ice. Jumper wiggled, trying to get free. I want to run, Jumper said. Let me go. Not yet, I told him. We walked for almost an hour. Now, my father said, let Jumper go. He's ready to run. You heard your father, Jumper said. Let me down. I dropped him, and Jumper took off running. I'm faster than you are, Jumper called over his shoulder. I had to laugh. Of course he was faster than me. I ran after him anyway. I tripped over a log covered in the snow and rolled and tumbled. Be careful, my father shouted. When I came to my feet, my face was covered in snow. Luke laughed and pointed at me. You're a snow monster, he said. I didn't know what a snow monster was. I just knew I didn't like being called one. I grabbed a handful of snow and rolled it into a snowball. Hokey, you were smart enough to know what I did next. I threw a snowball at Luke. He ducked, and the snowball hit my father in the face. This is bad, real bad. I had never hit my father with a snowball. I stood and I waited. Uh-oh, Luke said. Uh-oh, Jumper said. I waited to see what my father would do. First, he stepped behind a tree. Luke and I looked at each other. This is strange, Jumper said. The tree was covered in icicles, and we heard cracking sounds. My father was breaking icicles from the branches. We stood still for a long time. What happened next was scary, really scary. Grrr. A low growling came from behind the tree. Grrr. The sound grew louder. I don't like this, Jumper said. Without warning, something jumped from behind the tree. I am the real snow monster, the thing yelled. The snow monster wore my father's clothes. He had no hands. Icicles poked from his sleeves where his fingers should be, and his head was made of snow. The snow monster ran after us. He waved his arms, and icicles flew all around us. He tackled Luke. They both rolled in the snow. Grrr, the thing yelled. Where is your father? Jumper asked. No time for talking, I said. Run! Help! Luke shouted. You are on your own, Jumper said. I do not fight with snow monsters. I thought the snow monster was my father, but Jumper and I didn't wait to see. We hid behind a big rock and clung to each other. The snow monster dragged Luke behind the tree. We heard more crackling sounds. Grrr! That was the snow monster growling. Grrr! That sounded like Luke, growling like a snow monster. This has gone on far enough, Jumper said. I knew what was about to happen. Big snow monster jumped out. Grrr! When little snow monster appeared, I laughed. It was scary, but I laughed anyway. Grrr! I'm the son of a snow monster, little snow monster yelled. The snow monster was wearing Luke's clothes. His fingers were icicles, and his head was a giant snowball. Hey, I want to be a snow monster, I said. Big snow monster looked at little snow monster. I never knew snow monsters could shrug their shoulders. These two did. Come on, said Big Snow Monster. We all went behind the tree, and Jumper stayed behind the rock. He was still scared and didn't want to be close to any snow monster. My father, Hokey, he was not a real snow monster, broke icicles from the tree. Luke, little snow monster, scooped up enough snow to make me a snow monster head. I knew what we were about to do. Jumper likes to run, my father said. We'll give him a good reason to run. Jumper jumped on top of the rock. What's going on? He asked. We didn't answer. Soon I was ready, with icicle fingers and a snowy head. Grrr, we growled from behind the tree. Go, Father whispered. We jumped into the open. Grrr, Jumper did not move. He was so afraid he just stared at us. Then he leapt from the rock and started running. We waved our arms and flung the icicles, and we shook our heads in snow and that flew everywhere. Help! Shouted Jumper. We chased Jumper through the trees and up the hill. I knew Jumper was fast, but he ran faster than ever. That's what happens when you're a dog being chased by 3 snow monsters. Finally, Jumper stopped. Our icicle fingers were gone. Our snow heads were gone. Hey, Jumper said, that's not funny. You're not snow monsters. You're Luke, Isaac, and Father. I'm sorry, Jumper, I said. We played a joke, that's all. Let's go home now, my father said. Jumper, we will make you something special for supper tonight. I think I deserve it, Jumper said. He was already wagging his tail. I knew he forgave us. I learned something important that day. Hitting your father in the face with a snowball is not a good idea, unless you want to spend the rest of the day with real live Choctaw snow monsters. I learned something else too. Being a snow monster is better than being a ghost.